This is Lauren Anderson, contributor to Great Black Speakers, and today I'm speaking with Rico Miller, life skills trainer, author, and speaker. Rico, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to be
Yeah,
here.
totally our pleasure to have you a part of Great Black Speakers and to be interviewing you today. So I've gotten a little familiar with what you do and who you are, but please tell the audience who you are and what you do.
Um, a couple things. First of all, I like to consider myself a minister because I'm very passionate about ministry and the things that come along with ministry. Secondly, I'm a business owner I have a software company that does staff augmentation for Oracle, SAP, and PeopleSoft applications. And also, I'm co-founder of a an organization which is called Seven Chords that deals with human trafficking, domestic violence, I mean, forget. Oh, AIDS and HIV awareness. Sorry about that. But yeah, so we are an organization that primarily deals with those primary issues, but we deal with society from a sense that we empower people to transition in life. So we want to empower those people to come out of those situations and be able to now have the skills to be able to support themselves, live on their own, be able to be equipped to deal with those things when they're not in our care. So those are the primary things I do.
Wow, what a great mission. So tell me, what kind of life experiences or knowledge made you become so passionate about this difficult issue of sex trafficking or sex abuse, etc.?
Um, you know, one of the things that happened was, first of all, I have four girls. And as I began to get more and more involved in the situation, I realized it wasn't just about girls, because boys are now targets as well. And I'm talking about the human trafficking issue. So when I looked at those things and I started to deal with some of the victims, and I start to realize that this could be my child, this could be anyone's child, this could be, something that, and a lot of times people associate it or assimilate it to prostitution because they think these people have chosen to go this path. And a lot of times it's where someone is, simply has kidnapped them and has put them in, a capacity that they don't want to be in, and now they're having to struggle to live with those things for the rest of their lives. So as I began to interview people and talk to them, see the amount of hurt and the pain that they experience behind these type tragedies, it was just heart wrenching, and looking out and doing some of the things I do in ministry made me even more passionate about it because those are all the things that Jesus did. Was deal with those people that were hurting and that couldn't help themselves. So it's been a tremendous life changing experience for me to deal with those issues first. So.
Wow. And is that something that you speak on when you have engagements? Is that one of the topics that you speak to?
Yes, I speak on the human trafficking. We do plays, we do things like that, as well as I do mentorship for uh, high school kids as well. So I like to deal with the problem, up front. I like to be more proactive and reactive. But yeah, we do all different types of things as far as that, as well as domestic violence, because a lot of times domestic violence is very subtle, and you don't think that you're a part of it. You don't think that it could happen to you, but it could be very subtle. Some marriages are dealing with it from a sense that one's controlling, one's more dominating, and then it affects the kids. And then a lot of times, even when dealing with some of the guys that I've dealt with that were pimping the girls basically. They said that, hey, they were like that before we got to them. They were already messed up.
Wow.
And simply a lot of times just their environment that they're in that they're taking advantage of, and they're capitalizing off of that. So that's what made me want to be more proactive on the front end and to deal with those issues up front. So.
And you're in Georgia now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but just recently I heard from someone else in Georgia that this was one of the major issues in Atlanta area with sex trafficking. I know in Las Vegas, where I live, it's a huge issue.
Mhm.
But yeah, I heard that in Atlanta. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the it's considered one of the hubs because a lot of the traffickers come through Atlanta to disperse them wherever else they're going to disperse them. Dallas, Houston is also a growing area as well. So these are the top three places that this is happening in, and this is where they actually, for lack of better words, a place where they distribute or a place where they actually kind of consider the hub for those type of things. So.
Wow. Well, I think it's great work that you're doing. Not an issue that a lot of people are addressing. So it's great that you found passion with helping those people. Tell me, your philosophy is follow and serve first, much like servant leadership. So what does that mean to you?
Well, the thing is, I think when you look at the Bible and you look at Jesus, one of the things is he never talked about leading. He always talked about he came to do his father's business. He was here to serve, and he was to serve others. So he was equipping his disciples with the things that it took to follow what his father had sent him to do. So it's more of being able to put yourself in a capacity and to think in terms of how could I help someone else, and how can I, help empower them? How can I get them closer to Christ? How can I now help them get an education or to be able to deal with those things such as the social, economical, and political issues that we all deal with? And how could I, take them to a new level in life? And that's simply it. So going with that philosophy, it pretty much puts you in a position where you have to decrease yourself in a sense and not really look for your own needs, but look to help someone else. And when you look to do it that way, you get a lot more fulfillment out of helping someone else.
Yeah, I would certainly agree with that philosophy. And then, a lot of people, they want to be leaders, but they haven't yet served first.
Absolutely.
And I think it's best that you serve first because then you become a better leader, right?
Absolutely.
You're able to observe, you're able to, take note of all of the qualities that are necessary to be a great leader.
Absolutely.
So I definitely like that philosophy that you have. So you're involved with the Seven Chords Foundation. Tell me what that is and what you do.
The Seven Chords Foundation is the foundation where I do a lot of the ministry for those domestic violence, human trafficking, and AIDS and HIV awareness. It's an organization that was designed for transitioning. And later on, we want to do, and when I say transitioning, even from like armed veterans, because I'm a veteran as well. So one of the things that you
Thank
challenge.
you for your service.
Thank you, thank you. One of the things that you struggle with is how do I transition into society? Am I even relevant? I mean, do I have the skill set? Do I, what's going on now that I can now be able to deal with those things? And even from ministers or leaders in the church or leaders of organizations, but primarily from a sense that you have a problem transitioning because even for ministers, they have one of the highest rates of suicide because you're dealing with so many issues and you're taking on everyone else's problems and you have nowhere to go for your own and you have no place to get comfort. So we're having problems in our homes, we're having problems in our church. Where do we go? And there are not a lot of organizations or anything like that to deal with that. But my point is that even with the domestic violence and human trafficking, these people now need to have somewhere that gives them the skills, provides more solutions. We help them train to be able to interview. We give them, train on how to create a resume. We train them on, how to just function in everyday life because a lot of them have been dealing with these issues for a long time. So you're having to declutter a lot of the things that they wrestled with for so long and has been a part of their environment. So that's the thing. We're kind of more of a transitional type organization that tries to be more solution based and solution focused to empower the people to deal with the problems or things of life. So.
Wow, that's a great foundation. So do you, for example, if someone from our audience happens to want to be involved with your organization, how would they contact you? Is there a website, a phone number?
Yeah, so right now we have, and the website is currently under construction, but it's sevenchords.com. So the number 7chords.com. So, and on there you can pretty much go on and contact us and ask us for, information, books, or, we do some blogs and things like that. So, we're here. We want to be relevant. We want to be prevalent. We want to be where we're an organization that's there for the people and they feel like we are at their service. So,
Absolutely. So I know that you empower through your life experiences and the things that you've learned. So tell me about some of those life experiences that an audience could expect to hear at an engagement.
okay. One of the things that's probably most impactful for me is I was married before for 18 years, right? And I was in a domestic violence type situation, but didn't know it, And the reason why I say that is not only from a physical sense, but from an emotional sense. And coming from a place where you've seen so many broken homes, so many broken families, so many things that have, that contribute to my paradigm of how I saw marriage. That not only was I in a domestic violence situation where not even just blaming her, but sometimes even myself. And I wasn't able to see how I was sometimes in my own way. And I think that those are the type of things that break up families and that gives us broken homes and things like that. So having come from a place of hurting my kids from a divorce, and they were very upset about that, it now made me want to go out and fix the problem. And now made me want to go out and say, how can I make sure that the fathers and the daughters stay close? How can I go out and make sure that the fathers and the sons stay close? Because that's one of the most critical issues, not only primarily in our community, that I think that we don't talk about. We don't want to deal with, because we don't want to talk about our problems. We want to blame everything on everyone else. So that's one. And one of the biggest experiences is I was traveling, and I was actually in Dallas, and a young lady came up to me and started talking. And she was talking, and then she pretty much said, hey, would you be interested in, one night for $50? And she was very young looking. And it tore my heart. And I says, the best thing I can do for you is pray for you right now, because you could be my kid. And, and I just didn't like it. And she was telling me how she had been molested by her family, by her own father, and by members of her family. So she felt like that was the only thing she had that was of value. And I wanted to, and I prayed with her, and I gave her some money, but from a sense that, hey, you go get you something to eat, but you can change the situation. You can do better. You're a strong woman. Just, go out and just see something different for yourself. And so that was just one of the most, life-changing experiences for me, when I realized, hey, my home wasn't in order. And now I have another child here that came before me that was struggling with issues that I couldn't help him with, And she was hurt by the church, and she was hurt by everyone around her, and she felt like all hope was lost. My thing is also people like Martin Luther King and the other great leaders that have gone on before. Their mission and goal was to change the world. And that's my goal, is to change those type of issues of domestic violence, human trafficking, and AIDS and HIV awareness, because all of it ties in together. So,
Yeah, well, you're definitely on track as a world changer. So kudos to you on
thank
those tough, very tough issues that you address. So, what types of topics have you spoken on prior? And what can an audience expect from, Rico Miller?
I like to consider myself a different. And the reason why I say I like to consider myself different, because I like to speak on the hard issues. I like to speak on like the domestic violence, human trafficking, those, but I like to speak on pornography. I like to speak on leadership. I like to speak on how do you change, your life. I'm sorry, how do you change your life? And I like to speak on things such as, of course, biblically. I always talk on the biblical issues. I like to speak on church hurt, things that are more of societal type issues that are considered taboo. So that's why it's more cutting edge. So, I think that I like to look at the stories in the Bible where people don't want to talk about. For instance, Hosea married a prostitute. Why would God have him marry a prostitute? So, it's just, I like to speak on the hard issues, the ones that are more intriguing, more of, here are the real issues we deal with, depression. So, how do we get past those things? How do we now say, I got a battle within myself that I can't get over? And a lot of people are suicide, they drugs, all those things people don't want to deal with. We just rather talk about all the happy things. But what about the people that are hurting? And we can't forget the people. So,
Wow. Very touching, very touching. I'm sure that, from this interview, people have gotten a glimpse of the great talks that you can give regarding these tough issues. So, tough talk, tough issues from Rico Miller. If you want to leave us with anything else before we go, any book or any other way that people can contact you via social media, website, or so forth, you have the floor.
no, I pretty much will like to say, just make sure that we don't forget the people. And, again, give me a call at 404-392-1878. Again, that's 404-392-1878. And just look for more from Rico Miller. We're going to, in Seven Chords organization, we're going to do a lot of things. We got a lot of great things happening, so just look for more from us.
That's awesome. It has been a pleasure, Rico Miller. You have a wonderful day.
Okay, thank you.